Here's Sasaki, Roki Sasaki, the rookie. He's 25 years old, came over from Japan, and they got him for $6 million. How about that? Had he waited a little bit, he could have had the sun, moon, and the stars. But he had that today.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he was a little different than what we may have thought. I mean, I think the first thing coming in, you see those 9 walks, so you're saying to yourself, this guy's going to be all over the joint. Well, he wasn't. And his fastball was actually pretty good in this game. He had some pretty good movement, 97, 98 miles an hour. And I will tell you that much. You just saw 2 just nasty pitches. When he gets ahead of you, you can turn around and kiss your butt goodbye. Because that splitter, you're not hitting it.
Yeah, you got to get on that fastball. If you don't get on that fastball, you're going to see that split. It's really tough to discern when you're hitting, when he throws it that hard with that much movement. It's one of the better off-speed pitches you will see out of a right-hander this year.
Mm-hmm. When you look at his numbers and what he has done, we were talking about a little bit, Rube, before we went on the air. He walked a lot of guys in his first 2 starts, gave up just 1 and 2 hits. What's in store for him?
Well, I think it's about confidence. I mean, the kid is making an adjustment not only to a new country, also to you're playing for the Dodgers, man. There's a lot of heat on you. You gotta perform, and there's a lot of hype around him now. He's got a lot of support. There's no question about it that they've got a lot of support around him. But he came with a pretty high hyped guy, and he's adjusting to being in this culture. So I think it's a confidence thing for him. If he starts throwing more consistent strikes with his fastball, he can be really nasty. I think John Kruk made a great point about his off-speed pitches. He's going to have to refine a slider or something else to give the hitter something else to look at, because if he's going fastball split, that's a tough way to go unless you are a closer or something like that.
All right. Do you think this was more about their pitching or your hitting today?
I thought their guy was pretty good. He threw more strikes than he did in the first 2 games that he pitched, and the split was good. He got us out of the zone a few times, more often than we have up to this point. So, yeah, I thought he was good.
What do you think of Sasaki's team for the first time?
Yeah, he's good. It's funky splitter. It's different. Good heater, and he's got that slider to go with it. So, he seems super athletic and has an idea what he's doing. And, I think facing Yamamoto yesterday helped a little bit in the sense that, with the splitter and whatnot, but still very unique and bright future ahead.
Trey, you mentioned facing him for the first time. If you were to face him down the road in, say, October, will having faced him one time in April help at all?
Yeah, I think so, a little bit. I mean, the more times you face, I think the better. But yeah, just even to know what the fastball's like. You see 98 and you see video, but when you're in the box, some guys think it's hard, soft, this, that. So it's hard to explain, unless you're in the box. But, for us, I think just seeing all the pitches and shapes and whatnot just helps you kind of game plan for the next time around.
Really, I think the story was Roki, throwing great, and the rest of the pitchers coming in, just locking them down. Really, really cool for Roki to have, kind of started off with 2 hits, and then he just settled in and was just nasty the rest of the way.
How much of a confidence booster is an outing like that for a young pitcher like him?
I would think it's everything, especially in this environment. It's not an easy place to play, and given a little bit of a rocky start at Dodger Stadium, coming out here and just being himself. I hope he feels good, and I sure would if I were him. So we're excited about that.
Dave, with Roki, you had talked ahead of the game that you felt this was going to be a good one for him. Just from that first inning after those 2 hits, how did he settle in this one?
He settled in nicely. I thought there was a lot more consistent strike throwing with both of his pitches. Got a lot of swing and miss, some soft contact, managed that first inning, and recovered nicely.
Did you see that, just his demeanor changed, or just kind of, even maybe just the control he had kind of came back to him?
I think so. I thought that as the game went on, he continued to gain confidence and just kept his composure, his poise, and just kept executing pitches. I thought Austin did a great job with him today.
How much do you think he needed to have that kind of an outing?
He needed it. He needed it. He probably won't let on how much he needed it, but to get a major league start, and given how the first couple went, to have some success and leave the game with a lead, I think that was certainly a big positive for him, and also just, building block for him, for his next outing.
How much did that play into your mind, taking him out at that point?
That was some of it. I thought that, even up to that point, he pitched a really good ball game. He hadn't gone to the third inning, let alone the fourth inning or the fifth inning up to this point. And so just knowing we had some help behind him, I felt that was a good spot for Banda, and I thought Roki did everything he could and needed to do at that point in time, and just kind of leaving the outing wanting for more. I think that's a good thing for him.
Well, we're going to the K-zone. We're going to look. Is he establishing? Here you got a right-handed batter in the second. Man, look at that. Look at the location of that fastball. Catches the corner. Against lefties, catches the corner. He's establishing it right now. Down in the zone. That is critical when you have a split finger that you can establish down in the zone. The reason why, they're going back. Guys are noticing that in the dugout. The Phillies, they're like, he's throwing it for a strike. You get a swing and miss like this on that ball. These are now all starting exactly where those fastballs are going. These are starting off in the strike zone, and the bottom is falling out of it. You get a ground out, you get a swing and miss. Look how far this one, look how much you missed this one by. You swing at that one, the amount of break on that pitch. But as a hitter, we talked about if you cannot throw the fastball for a strike, let alone hit the bottom part of the zone, you have a chance of laying off some of those nasty split fingers, because now you just have to set your sights up and look for it.
Austin, when you look at Roki's outing today, obviously you could just see that stuff was in a much better place for him. How much of a confidence booster could an outing like this be for him?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think he needs, like today, he had his feet wet for the first two starts. I think he's a little bit more comfortable, maybe away from, LA, all the, what comes with that, but I thought he was throwing his fastball well. And I think that changed from, the other outings.
Robert said that just you've been catching his bullpens and the relationship you two are building. In his last bullpen, was there something that you saw that stood out about him that kind of led to this outing today?
I think he was just more convicted in his fastball. I think in his bullpens he was working on getting ahead with the heater. He's got a good fastball. It's it's upper 90s. It's got life on it, and then he gets to that splitter, and his slider's good too. He's mixing some of those pitches in the slider, and I think he's got three good weapons. So when he's ahead, he's tough on hitters, especially when they have to respect that splitty.
You could kind of tell that he was on today and a little more mechanically like where he'd want to be.
I thought he was in a good headspace. Before we went out there, he told me let's go, and I like to, it was good to see. Like just going out there and competing, I felt like he was in a good spot, and he did it. I think he went out there, and they're a tough lineup. They got a lot of good hitters, and I felt like he went out there and he competed.
This environment too is kind of notoriously hostile. Is that something that you prepared for?
Yeah, they're not the nicest fans, but they're good fans though. They're they like the Phillies, and maybe the language is can't understand them, but no, hostile environment. He went in there and he pitched his game, so that was great to see.
Did he say "let's go" in English?
Yeah, he did. He said, "Come on, let's go." I said, "All right, let's go then." Yeah, I liked it.
ご視聴ありがとうございました。チャンネル登録と高評価よろしくお願いします。